Hi, I'm Joey, the Quarantooned cook. I just got back from our local farmer's market in Reno, Reno Farm Systems. They have some really amazing vegetables there, and I'm gonna cook these up tonight. We got all kinds of stuff in here. Got some fresh beets. Some very nice organic carrots. Fresh organic chard. Turnips, one of my favorites. And fresh parsley. Just sit that in there like so. And a couple of organic squashes. Got some incredible stuff from that farm store. Now, you can eat the tops, of course, of the turnips, the chard. The carrots you want to cut the tops off of. And then we've got our beets as well. And this is all going to be delicious. I'm going to remove the top part of the carrot because we're not going to utilize that, but we will utilize everything else. Just cut them off like so, and then you can take these and discard them. You can put them in compost, whatever you want to do. Let me throw them out. Garbage here. I want to do a shout out to my friend Dina, who's a great hairdresser, by the way. And she's the one that recommended the Reno Farm Systems farm stand to us. And we love that place. We're going to be going there all the time now. Okay, we're going to start with the chard. And you just want to cut those at the end of the leaf, just to get this little excess part off. And then you want to rinse everything really well. I've already got my carrots in here rinsing and my squash. So I'm going to throw these over here in this bowl. And you always put them in cold water. That way they stay nice and crisp. And with the beets, you're gonna just cut them at the tip. And then again, you wanna cut them at the ends of the leaves. And we're gonna throw these into rips as well with our chard. Perfect. And throw these couple of leaves in there too. Waste not, want not. And we're going to do that with each one of these. Beets are separated, and then we'll just get the rest of this, put them right there at the end. And if you have any bad leaves, you just get rid of them. Throw these in here to rinse, and then move on to the turnips. And we'll do the same thing with the turnips. You want the greens and the turnips themselves. My grandmother used to make these, and man, they were so delicious. She had a huge farm, Granny Gillen. As a matter of fact, I think her turnips are like 10 times bigger than this. You know, they're naturally organic, and they're gonna be delicious. Backs and stems, like so. Throw these in here to rinse as well. Cut this one a little bit more. There we go. Alright, and that is all of those. Just going to put the turnips and the beets in here with the carrots and squash and rinse those. Alright, that's down in the water. Getting a nice rinse. Nice turnip green. We're going to rinse it because you want to rinse each leaf individually. Make sure you get excess dirt or possibly bugs that were on the farm. It is organic after all. And just throw it right over here. You're going to do that with each one of them. I'm just actually rinsing them under the faucet and then dipping them in the water. I've got in the sink, you know, double duty just to make sure they're nice and rinsed. And you'll do that with each one of your vegetables. And you know, of course with the chard, they've got huge leaves, so just make sure you get all of it. This is why it's important to rinse your vegetables thoroughly, because look at all that sediment that's in the bottom there. And then, you know, there might even be a little bug in there. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, it comes from the organic garden, so that's why. But then you do a second and third rinse. And I want to show you the leaves on this chard. Look how bright and beautiful that is. This is how you tell they're organic. You got all these nice, beautiful, burstingly red veins in here, and look how green it is. That is astounding. God, I love it. That is the greatest farm stand ever. Now we're ready to cook our greens and vegetables. I'm going to turn my burner on high, and we're cooking that with some organic bacon just to give it a nice flavor. I'm going to use my large Le Creuset pot. First thing you're going to do is going to take your bacon, and I got a whole package of bacon here because I like a lot of it, and you just cut it in half and throw it in the pot. You can separate it or not separate it, whatever your choice is. I'm going to separate mine a little bit. And this bacon fat is what's going to make those vegetables taste really, really delicious. This is nice fat bacon too. All right, so that's. We're going to throw the lid back on this, and I'm going to cook this for about 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, our bacon's been cooking for 10 minutes. It's rendered the grease like we want. And now we're just going to add some of our root vegetables to that. So I'm going to add our turnips, and I'm just going to cut this part off, and we're going to kind of quarter these up a little bit, like so. Okay. And the beet, same thing. We're just going to cut the tail off, get rid of our scraps over here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to quarter these up. They don't have to be small, but we can cook through the center of it. And my carrots, we got these nice organic carrots here. I'm just going to kind of cut these like so into a couple of pieces. We'll cook it like this. Look at that color. That's amazing. And with a couple of these, I'm going to leave the root on. Cook that. See a little extra flavor. I'm gonna leave the root of some of these on here. Looks like an octopus. Those are nice red beets. Carrots in half. And that vibrant yellow, that is astounding. Okay, so what we're gonna do with this, very carefully, I'm gonna do this so I don't cut myself. Cut it right down the center, like so. Wow, look at that. I'm just gonna toss it right in here like so on top of the other stuff. We're just gonna cut our chard like this and then throw it right in the pot. Right on top of everything else. Ah, magnifico. And we'll take the beet and we're gonna do the same thing. The leaves aren't quite as big, so we'll make them a little smaller here. Now this is all going to cook down, so it looks a little piled up at the moment, but I assure you it'll be about halfway in the pot by the time we're done. And our turnip greens, lastly, will go on top. I'll just do one slice down the middle of these. I'm going to put that right here on top of these. Let me get that last piece there. I want every last bit, and then we're going to throw the lid on top of this. Get in there. It's wanting to come out. The bacon's already a little bit salty, but you still want an extra flavor in it, so I'm just going to add a touch of salt onto this. Throw this lid back on and let it cook. And I've got this on like a medium-high heat. I'm going to add about 3 cups of water into this. You don't need a whole lot because it's going to cook down and be watery anyway. So that's ready to go, and we're just going to check on that in about 10 minutes. I'm going to add a few fresh peppercorns to this too for some flavor. Next, I'm going to add some dried dandelion root. It's going to soften up in here and add some delicious flavor to this. Okay, as soon as it comes to a good boil, you want to turn it down. See, everything's steaming up. Nice and fresh. Just flip some of it over. That smells wonderful. Turn this down to a medium heat. Now we're going to cook our greens for about 45 minutes to an hour. Now we're going to test the turnips and beets and make sure they're soft, which means they're done. Alright, that's perfect. And our timer just went off, so we're ready to eat. I'm going to serve this up. Alright, take the lid off this thing very carefully. Make sure you use your pot holder so you don't burn yourself. Wow, those look amazing. Look at that squash. See the color on that? Fantastic. Alright. Some greenage. Squash, man, that squash is nice and tender. And some bacon, of course. That's one thing I love about this dish, is the fresh bacon taste. So let's get a little bit of everything in here. Got some nice orange yellow carrot. Throw a little bit of beet in here. Alright, there we go. That looks amazing. And that's a lot of vegetables too. More squash. Yum. Alright, we're going to put the lid back on this so it stays warm. Make sure all your burners are off. And voila. For now, I'm Joey, the Quarantine Cook, and we will see you next time.